Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, January 2nd. Friendly reminder, the markets are closed on Wednesday the 1st for the new year. So on that note, a very happy new year to all of you watching this. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So that is what that 30 up there is referring to, meaning that each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol HOLO. Very nice mover. Now, this is a little bit of perspective here because there was a bit of a pullback here. So it's really just what was your strategy going? If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within 13 minutes, well, then from that standpoint, the chart is an absolute train wreck. But with that being said, if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, even with the bigger pullback today, let's just say that the price now starts to actually go sideways here a little bit. Now, emphasis here on big picture. From the big picture standpoint, what would you still have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture standpoint, you'd still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. Again, I understand if you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to make a distinction between more of a bigger picture for somebody with a, more of like a day trader type viewpoint. So more of the story here though, 485, important area of support moving forward. If the price does try to turn itself back around, then main area of resistance to keeping a close eye on. Let me change that to red. For resistance will be right up here around the $6.70 mark. So keep an eye on that. But all in all, like I said, big picture wise, still plenty of opportunity for the trend to build upon itself. Next one here, ticker symbol FFIE. Same general idea of what I just talked about, so I'll go through it a little bit quicker. But if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within 3 minutes. From that standpoint, yeah, today was not a good day at all, as the price did pull back very much so from those highs. But from a bigger picture standpoint, the price is behaving like you would want to see it behave in the sense of it came down on that purple line there, which on my chart denotes the very well-known, the very famous 50-period moving average, right now valued at 219, and it bounced very, very nicely right off that level. So from an overarching standpoint, that's the sort of price movement you want to see. You want to see overall movements honor that 50-period moving average, and not only did it honor it, actually bounced very, very nicely off of it. So moving forward, that purple line there is certainly going to be the preferable level of support that you see the price maintain above. If this bounce continues, then the next key battleground to watch from a resistance standpoint going to be right here up around the $3.20 mark, so keep an eye on that. So once again, it goes back to what was your strategy. If you're a day trader, depending on where you bought, not a good day at all. But if you do care about the bigger picture standpoint, good to see the price honor that purple line. So we'll see if the price can get some further bounce off of it later on in the week. Next one here, ticker symbol RGTI. Already just kind of drew this pattern in place so we could kind of, move through this relatively quicker because I know a lot of you watch these videos time and time again, and you've, heard me talk about RGTI time and time again. So big picture wise, we have a multi-day bull pennant pattern, and just in case you can't quite see what I mean by that, which is perfectly fine. Hopefully these videos are somewhat educational too. But there is our area of resistance, which is just showing the trend line that the price has been pulling back. But while this pullback has been occurring, the price has also been essentially going sideways here by honoring that level right there, about $14.50. And then before this pullback occurred, the price was way down here, and it made the move all the way up here. And then just to complete it for those of you golfers out there and make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here, and this is why it's called a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go upwards, but would it be shocking? Would it catch people off guard if the price came up here, broke through it, and then that break right there created a bunch of upside buying pressure? I don't think that would shock anybody or say, well, I didn't see that coming. No, that would just be a classic bull pennant breakout. So if you do like bull pennants, and especially if you like multi-day patterns, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, SVMH, and there's no need to beat around the bush. This thing is a pretty ugly looking chart to think that at one time today the price was all the way up here and then it's dropped to where it has right now. But you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly because the price is now starting to approach some very interesting levels from a pullback standpoint. So let's change this to green for support. And that comes in the form of a former breakout area. So looking back here on the chart, you can see that this was an area of resistance, and basic technical analysis states when levels of resistance are broken, they can tend to act as support. So you combine that with the fact of that green line is also very close to that purple line, which you now know is that 50-period moving average, and think back to the other ones where the price bounced right off that level. Now, that's not to say that it's for sure going to bounce off this area, but my point here is it at least a valid, is it at least a plausible thought process to think that if the price gets a little bit more ugly, comes down around this area, that it could level off and get a bounce? In my mind, that is a plausible scenario, but that's also why risk management matters, because there's no guarantee. So if this thing continues to plummet, you don't want to turn yourself into a bag holder. But if you can be disciplined, then you'll have minimal risk. And, from a risk-reward scenario, you could be looking at a nice little upside gain relative to what was being risked in the first place. So if you like penny stocks, if you like these sort of situations where there's opportunity in the ugly, then keep an eye on it. Next one, BDMD. I don't think I've ever heard of this ticker symbol before, but wow, absolutely crazy mover today to think that it started off down here in the $2 and then just absolutely skyrocketed up above $8. Big movement, big volume, and if you're a trader, then that's what it's all about. You want that volatility and you want that volume. So let's map out some areas moving forward. Now, this late day today is, now there, like I've said, and I'll say it probably a dozen more times, there are no guarantees, but these sort of candles here do suggest that there's probably going to be some sort of pullback that needs to happen. Keep in mind, a pullback is not the same as a reversal. Now, of course, the price could reverse, but just because these sorts of candles happen doesn't mean that the price is going to crash, but it does suggest a possible pullback. So if there is a pullback worse in these areas of support, I have to keep an eye on. And in my mind, $6 right there is a very interesting level. And then after $6, another potential area to find, maybe some support right down there around $4.90. Or if you just want to make things a little bit simpler, you could just, call this a support zone right here. But however you best want to approach that, which I understand. Can't wait. What are you talking about? $2 away is just a pullback? Well, that's a catch-22. These ones that can move very quickly, yeah, it does create some bigger spaces within the chart itself. And you can see right now, some red is showing up here. Again, market's still open. That's why I like to do these, so we can watch this later day movement here. So keep an eye on those as an area of support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate this, just basic logic. Where did the party finally stop today? Party stopped right up there at about $9.20. So for that reason, and that reason alone, will be the main battleground headed into Thursday. But all in all, very explosive chart. Real quick, I want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free class that you can watch on demand whenever it fits into your schedule. But if you want to learn more about the tool that you've been seeing and how it can be used to build consistency and manage risk, then like I said, get signed up for the class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use, or if you're watching right at my website, just click on the area on the page there, and like I said, it'll take you to a page where you submit your email, and then you'll be able to watch the class at your earliest convenience. So definitely do that if you've been enjoying what you've seen. Next one here, ticker symbol APM, and another one of these ugly looking charts. No need to beat around the bush here, but once again, we also have some opportunity in the ugly, and maybe know right where we're headed with this, because this is nothing new compared to what we've talked about before. But yeah, you can see big pullback, but as you notice, what are these red candles getting somewhat close to? Well, right there, that purple line, the 50-period moving average, which as of right now is basically at the $1.95 mark. So to reiterate, there's no guarantees, but certainly valid to think that if the price comes down here, it could find some support and then get a nice little bounce up, from that level. And even a bounce, I'm not saying a reversal back up to those highs, but once again, going back to if you're risking very little, then you don't need a whole lot of bounce in the upwards direction to make the risk versus reward scenario and profile make sense. So I realize that these sorts of situations are not everybody's cup of tea, but if you do like this price range, you like these situations where there's bigger pullbacks, things are getting ugly, but then there's that area for potential bounce, keep an eye on it. Next one, OPTT, and a tricky chart once more to talk about. As I've said before, all about perspective day traders that are buying right there. Yeah, not have a good day. But I will say that even after this bigger pullback right here, pretty impressive to see the price all of a sudden stop and then start to work its way up here. And in doing so, has laid out, I think, a relatively clear potential, continued reversal point with this resistance line right there. I think a lot of people have drawn that line, and I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, it can produce some, call it whatever you want, self-fulfilling prophecies, but it can produce some very dynamic movement. So if the price were to come up here and push through there, valid to think that the price and that movement right there in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, yes, you'll want to watch that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. But ideally speaking, what would make the chart look the best moving forward? That would be if the price could stay up here above right around this 87-cent mark. But all in all, I think, in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic is that resistance line right there. So we'll see if the price can get the push up through there or not. Next one here, LCID, and this thing has had some big swings, including today. The big explosive move, and then to see it drop the way that it did. And just to offer up a little bit more context, this is still all happening within overall context, and I am defining overall context via the pink line right there, which is the big brother of the 50-period moving average. That is the 200-period moving average. And you can see it's still got a nice upward slope to it. So that's where I say the overall trend still in the bulls' favor. But yeah, within the bullish uptrend here, a whole lot of up and down action. Today was a pretty crazy day to close out the year. But moving forward, if there is more of a pullback, then, it's still got a ways to go, but worth at least, keeping an eye on and seeing if the price does get down around that $2.80 mark, because as of right now, that is definitely a very important level. Preferably speaking, though, the price continues to bounce off of and maintain and respect this area in the near term, right here at the $3 mark. Going through the history of things, you can see that did a good job of respecting it right there. And then even today, was, hanging right around there, later on in the day. So keep an eye on $3. And then, like I said, the pink line there, if that level, if the $3 mark can't quite hold up. If the price does try to bounce in the near-term area of resistance, going to be all about the purple line right there, which is the 50-period moving average, and current value of that right up there around $3.17. So, yeah, today started strong, had a very nasty pullback, but again, within the grand scheme of things, the trend is still in the bulls' direction. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA, and I'm showing multiple days here because what I'm just very curious about going into the future here is that level right there. That support trend line, I think, could very well play a role. You can see where, maybe you can't see, so that's why I'm going to show you. But just connecting these lines right there did a great job of forecasting that bounce point. And now the price is once again around that area. So in my mind, that's a question mark that I think a lot of people will be wondering about. Can the price once again bounce off that trend line? And that could be one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where enough people are watching that and saying, I think it's going to bounce, so I'm going to buy. And enough people are thinking that. And just because enough people are having that thought, the price therefore bounces. So again, self-fulfilling prophecy. So keep an eye on that trend line right there. I think that could definitely come into play here. I guess I can say next year now because that's true. Next year, that line could come into play there. If the price does just bounce back upwards, though, key area of resistance to watch with any sort of attempted bounce back in the upwards direction, going to be right there around, what is that, about $415, so keep a close eye on that. But that's really kind of the two main dynamics that stand out to me. That lower trend line right there is support, and if the price does bounce up right around that $415 mark. Next one, NVDA, and once again, I want to draw one of these lower support lines because the price is getting close to it, so I'm curious it will, respect that level if it even indeed does get down there towards it. So keep an eye on that. And then it's very cut and dry really headed into Thursday. If the price does try to bounce, and looking closely there, you can see that pink line right there, which is that 200-period moving average, has really become quite the annoyance level right there. It rejected the price several times, and even right there, the price got up around it, couldn't quite push through it. I guess I can zoom in here. I just wanted to see where that green line was coming from, but as I zoom in there, yeah, that'll be the main dynamic to watch any sort of attempted bounce, the 200-period moving average. But even if the price does break above there, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I want to get overly excited about it because not that far away, you then have the purple line right there, the 50-period moving average, which would, you'd want to pay attention to also. But overall, like I said, not the greatest day today with the pullback here. But once again, it's kind of been the common theme today throughout all these is from the bigger picture, lots of pullbacks, but these charts still have the opportunity for you, people that care about the bigger picture viewpoint to build those higher lows. But near term, keep an eye on that support trend line right there. And if it tries to bounce, then the main battlegrounds will be those moving averages. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a moment, but again, for you stock traders out there, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then definitely get signed up so you can watch this class on demand at your convenience. So just click the link down below in the description box or on the area if you're on my website, and then you can go and watch this class at your earliest convenience. And as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, then if you want to support the channel in a super easy, super free way, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help out. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick note here, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, I am now on the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours and not 30 minutes. And that's because Bitcoin is open 24/7, and in order for this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible, I just want to look at things from a broader standpoint and walk you through some main questions, although nothing has really changed since the last time I did the video. And let's just say you're watching this video 20 hours after I upload it. Question number one still revolves around 92,000. Where's the price at relative to that area? Very, very important level, and it has ultimately once again held strong. And let me add in a little bit more context to that. As I zoom out, you can see that going back through the history of things, this level has quite the history of being support right there, right there. Didn't hit exactly, but close enough right there. Went slightly below, but once again, you get the idea. Whenever the price has been right around 92,000, the buyers have indeed stepped up. So if you're watching this video several hours from now and you're saying, wow, Clay, the price is really far down below 92,000, that's not a good sign. That would be telling you that the bears are back in control and things are going very well for them. If you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is above 92,000, and now that's where, it becomes a little bit of common sense. Down around here, I mean, that's good. At least it's not below it. But if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is all the way up here, well, it's telling you that this bounce here has picked up just that much more momentum. But at the end of the day, it's all revolving around, at least in my opinion, that 92,000 mark. Can the price hold? If it does, is there a big bounce? How big of a bounce? Or if the price does not hold, does it fail? And then a failure being worse the further the price gets down below there. So like I said, common sense. If you're saying, well, Clay, the price is down below it and the price is right here. Okay, I mean, that's not good. But if you're saying, well, actually, Clay, the price is all the way down there, well, that would be a much worse situation. So keep an eye on 92,000 whenever you're watching this, and that's going to be your best insight into the current status of the health of Bitcoin. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader to definitely take this free class also, because what you'll learn about can and certainly should be used within the world of Bitcoin and crypto. So like I mentioned earlier, just click the links, submit your email, and then you will gain instant access to it, and you can watch it on demand whenever best fits into your schedule. So thanks for watching. For all of you that have been watching these videos over the year, thank you very much. I wish you all a very happy new year. And yeah, I will see you back next year.